seas boiling. 4 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the sea rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cans living together. That's hysteria.
Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond, you're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. Want to thank everyone, of course, for joining into the show. Here we are. It is 11:05 on, of course, this, the 14th day of April here in the year 2023. Now, of course, everybody, if you're listening to the show, we do finally have the cameras up and running. Now, all show, we've had the Sam Cam up on Instagram. We've had the Sam Cam up on Instagram, and it's here live. But one of the other things that is happening is that we now have the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter feed all going live at the same time. Now, of course, it took us a little bit of a while to get there. Well, the reason being is because we've had just some snafus back here, and we got everything set up. Yes, we got everything set up, and so what we have here is, of course, we're live streaming. Now we're live streaming, of course, like I said, at Sam Newsman on Instagram. You see the Sam Cam, but at Sam Newsman on YouTube, like I said, Facebook and Twitter. That's right, Twitter as well. But you might be sitting there. Listen, if you're driving around here in Richmond and you're able to sit there, if you're in your car, you'll be able to hear us live. You'll be able to hear us live as you're driving around your car. WDCE 90.1 FM. But if you're out of the broadcast area, you might be thinking to yourself, well, how can I still listen to the show? I'm not watching you live, Sam, but I see that everything's going on. Well, how can you do that? Live 365. The Live 365 app is where you want to go. So download the Live 365 app on any of your smartphone. If you have an Android, if you have an iPhone, it doesn't matter exactly where you're downloading it from. Just make sure you download the Live 365 app, and you will be able to listen to the show live while we're here broadcasting. Now, of course, you can watch us live. Like I said, we're here live on these live segments, but eventually we will be playing cartoon themes. And because we are playing cartoon themes at that time, well, you want to be able to listen to them because that's what you associate your Saturday mornings with, right? It's with cartoon themes. And because of that, you want to be able to listen to those themes. How do you do that? Live 365. The Live 365 app is how you're going to do it. And so download the Live 365 app, search WDCE. When you search WDCE, you will be a part of the show and being able to be a part of listening to it on the live fun things. Whoa, oh my God, we got doors slamming all over the place. But that's okay. Here we are. We have some distractions, people coming in and out of the station. Not that that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. Listen, I have suits in the back, and I have the producers behind the glass, and then I have the philosopher over there talking about stardust. First thing is I get out of the car. Listen, I'm just trying to have my coffee, and the first thing that the philosopher wants to talk about is being made out of stardust. I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to consume my coffee dust, in the water. This hot bean water is what it is. No, I do not use cream or sugar. But listen, hey, you're talking about stardust, and I just want to talk about coffee dust as I'm trying to get start my whole damn show. Anyways, I do have some things that I want to talk about, but before that, like I said, at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Facebook, at Sam Newsman on TikTok, at Sam Newsman on Twitter, at Sam Newsman on YouTube. We are here live. I see everybody in the chat. Triple D's in the chat. Sugar. I see Casual Toy Collector. I have Big M, Ash Bailey, everyone who is joining and being a part of the show. Thank you all for watching at Sam Newsman all across social media. Now, it has been an interesting week. The Virginia State Legislature, they met back on the 12th. I believe I have the believe I have something over here. Hold on, let me see. I do have a couple of things. Of course, of course I have a couple of things because, unlike anybody else, I actually bring the newspaper, and here I am swinging the newspaper. If you see it, you can see it live. But I have the newspaper here. We're talking about hemp. The Virginia State, the Assembly, the General Assembly has been talking about hemp. And you say, well, what is hemp? We're talking about cannabis. We're talking about cannabis, what a lot of people call marijuana. Of course, I can't say I don't like to say that because that's a derogatory term. I don't like saying the term marijuana. We're just going to call it cannabis. But the Virginia State Assembly backs Youngkin on hemp bills. That was the Thursday headline. Let's see here. Let's see. Hold it up again here. Let's see here. There it is. Let's see. Get the finger out of the way, producer. There he is. Okay, so we have Assembly backs Youngkin on hemp bills. We have it over there on the live stream on Instagram. Yeah, so Assembly backs Youngkin on hemp bills. This is, like I said, from Thursday, April the 13th. Senate Democrats reject amendments on at least 10 bills. With no revised budget on the table yet, Senate Democrats on Wednesday postponed a potential showdown with Governor Youngkin on tax cuts and spending priorities. But they reminded the governor that the legislature does not back down on policy decisions it has already made. Now, this goes back to Governor Northam. Yeah, Governor Northam, who was in his own controversy and scandal, whether it be blackface or the KKK hood, whatever it was, doesn't really matter. Anyways, after that whole fiasco, he decides to go ahead and legalize cannabis here in the state of Virginia. And this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Now, I used to be out in Denver, Colorado. I was out in Denver, Colorado. I was also out in Tacoma, Washington. So I've seen how these industries have worked. When you say, well, Sam, do you partake? No, I'm a puppet. How's that going to work on me? It's just going to make my felt pink puppet skin stink. No, so I'm not consuming. I'm not partaking because it would make my felt pink puppet skin smell. Not smell in a bad way. I'm just saying, listen, I'm trying to set the standard, raise the bar. So, of course, here I am. But I can sit there and talk about it because I've seen these industries in other places, one being Denver, Colorado, and then also Tacoma, Washington, just right outside of Seattle. So you might as well just say I saw the Seattle market too. Familiar with that. So the Virginia Assembly, the General Assembly, let's go back to the article. The General Assembly gave Youngkin most of what he wanted during its annual veto session on Wednesday, sustaining 3 gubernatorial votes and approving changes he made to legislation to tighten regulation of commercial hemp industry, largely aimed at products containing Delta 8, as well as nearly 70 other bills that had adopted the legislative session ended in February 25th. Now, we talk about Delta 8 and Delta 9. You want to ask, well, what is the difference between Delta 8 and Delta 9? Well, so Delta 8 is still naturally occurring. It's just been mixed with an isolate in the lab. And they say, well, what's an isolate? Well, you can look that up, but I'm just going to tell you it's just science. It's science. So what they do is they extract the THC from the cannabis plant. Now, this is male hemp cannabis, not female hemp cannabis. Now, don't get it twisted. Now, female hemp cannabis is what a lot of people smoke, and they're familiar with it because that's what they associate cannabis with. But now there is a male and female cannabis flower. There's male hemp. Male hemp, THC can be extracted from male hemp. Yes, it is all weird science. It's weird science, says Ash Bailey. But here we are. You extract the THC, and if for Delta 9 is just standard THC. That operates at its natural state. So you need to take THC and it just does what it does throughout the course of its time in your system at its most potency, at the most potent point, which is the first hour to 2 hours or so. Depends on how you ingest it, whether it be for a gummy, an edible, or if you smoke it. There's different means and methods. But the idea, of course, is that Delta 9 is just natural THC at its natural state. Then we have Delta 8. When you say, well, what is Delta 8? Delta 8, what happens is the extraction of the THC is taken away and the reduction of the THC potency is reduced. So there is less, so the potency of the THC is reduced. So you got that? This is an educational moment, only brought to you the way that it could be by a real media puppet. So here we have Delta 8, so we have Delta 9 natural THC extracted from the male hemp plant. But then we have Delta 8, which is extracted from the male hemp plant, but is reduced in potency, but it is infused in the product at a higher milligram dosage. So it's infused back in. So of course the question right out of the gate is, well, what is more potent, Delta 8 or Delta 9? Well, if you did a 1-to-1 ratio, it would always be Delta 9. However, because more milligrams are being administered at the Delta 8 level, a lot of people feel that smack, that boom, right there at the front end of it, a little bit harder than the Delta 9. Delta 9 is a little bit longer ride, a little bit more stable. Delta 8, boom, hits you, kind of tapers off a little bit more easier, or sooner, if you will. But a lot of people like to have that initial hit on the front end. What does that hit do? Well, it helps with pain. It helps with anxiety. It helps with depression. It helps with mood, allows you to relax and chill out. Now, there's a couple of different types of THC, ones that allow you to, operate during the day, and then ones that are better for, pizza and Netflix. Of course, you got your strains that are your Bob Ross Happy Trees, your sativa strains, Bob Ross Happy Trees. And then you have your indica, short for in the couch. But that's your, like I said, pizza, Netflix. We're just going to veg out, play video games, and pass out on the couch, which that's okay too. It helps with sleep. You might be taking a bunch of different other sleep aids, but then of course this goes back into other cannabinoids such as CBD, CBN, and there's all these other different things. And then you say, well, Sam, how do you know about all this? Well, of course I know about all of this because, like I said, I've been in Denver, I've been in Tacoma, I've sat there and studied this whole thing. Such for the time as this. We always thought that Virginia would be the last state to legalize cannabis. And here it was the first state. Now, you can still grow 4 plants of your own cannabis in your own house. That's fine. But the idea, of course, is to set up a retail system. And well, how do you set up a retail system? Well, the only way to set up a retail system is to make sure that we have the systems in place to money launder to the politicians the way that it needs to be done. I'm going to say that again. We have to make sure that the systems are in place for the money laundering for cannabis and the taxation of cannabis to be done so that that money can get back into the coffers of all of these miserable politicians that are down there at the General Assembly. What? Well, that's what you expect from me, a real media puppet, is to tell you the damn truth about all of this. And what better way to tell you about it is to tell you exactly what's going down here as it's been happening. So one of the things that, as I'm going over this, it says that Youngkin's amendments to bills that more tightly regulate Virginia's hemp industry passed both chambers Wednesday following a robust debate. The amendments to the House bill sponsored by Majority Leader Kilgore passed on a vote of 52 to 42. The amendments to the Senate bill sponsored by Senator Emmett Hanger, Youngkin's amendments allow business packaging products that include hemp to exceed a previously proposed 2 milligram THC cap, which would have completely neutered the industry. Neutered it to a 25-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC. Now that means any products with just THC, so Delta 8, Delta 9, THCO, any of those type of THC products, they're out. You say, when are they out? July 1st. July 1st, they're out. Now, this does not mean that, of course, new products can be made. It just means that the products that you see now on the shelves are out. Now, this comes because a lot of people have been complaining that kids and people have been overdosing on gummies with THC. And okay, so let's talk about that for a moment. Why is it the business who's educating the community, setting the standard, raising the bar, doing what needs to be done to allow individuals to get the keys to their own health back in their own hands? Why is that the store's fault? Exactly, right. Yeah, there was silence there. No, because why? Because it's not the store's fault. If somebody is getting an overdose on THC, that's the parent's fault, specifically as a kid, because then I need to sit there and go to CPS. And people are always like, well, you know what? CPS should leave kids alone and parents and let parents raise their kids. Well, listen, if the parent has THC in the home and they can't do it, listen, this goes back to the fact that what if a parent has a gun in the home? Huh? Oh, listen, yes, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. Listen, so because there's a lot of people that have firearms in their houses, they have little kids. They teach their little kids not to do this. Listen, I'm not sitting there saying you need to sit there and put your gummies next to your firearms. But if you can sit there and take your firearms and make sure that your kids are not getting a hold to them, then your kids should not be getting a hold to the THC as well. But you're going to sit there and you're going to go after companies who are doing the right thing, educating the community, giving people the keys back to their own health. Right? You know, because no one knows about your health better than you. What you think? Oh, you think just because they have a white lab coat and a degree from some medical institution that they know how your body operates better than you do? Do they tell you when your stomach is upset? Do they tell you when you have the sniffles? Do you know when you're about to get sick? Do you just go running to them? If you go running to them and all you do is just get pharmaceutical drugs, hey, that's on you and that's fine. But what about the people who want to take their own keys to their own health back to them? Is it the company's fault? The company that sells the THC? No, it's not. The only reason why they're getting rid of the THC, it has nothing to do with people getting high and has everything to do with the amount of revenue that these politicians down at the Virginia State Assembly, including you, Youngkin, including you, this wannabe president individual. Oh, listen, I haven't even served my whole damn term here as the governor, and I might throw my hat for the presidential race. Get out of here. I just want to know exactly what business connections you have over to China already. I'll say it. Nobody else might say it. You might not hear this on talk radio here in the rest of the state, but I'll say it here. My question is what are your connections to China, Mr. Youngkin? Do you have any? I believe that you do. And those things will probably come to light in the future. But what is happening right now is that you, all your little buddies, and everybody down at the Virginia State Assembly can't get their money laundering avenues, corrected to where they can get some of the cash flow of THC and cannabis. I know this sounds like it's a hot button topic, but here it is. The only way that could be said is with a real media puppet. At Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Facebook, at Sam Newsman on TikTok, YouTube, all over the place. WDCE 90.1 FM. Listen, I'm not advocating for you to go out and just get high. What I'm advocating is that there are people who have been using products that have been able to get them off alcohol. You know how sometimes at night you might just want to have a nice glass of wine before you go to bed? Well, you know that alcohol is a neurotoxin. It disrupts the frontal cortex, your decision-making part of your brain. Right? The THC doesn't do that. No, it just relaxes you. Allows you to sit down on the couch, eat a few more pieces of pizza, and watch some more Netflix. You're going to say that's bad? You're going to say that's bad. That's terrible. We don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that we continue to have people rely on alcohol, a neurotoxin, for them to relax at night, as opposed to an all-natural remedy using THC that allows them to chill out more. They don't have a headache the next morning when they wake up, do they? No, of course they don't. You want to take that, you want to take the keys to people's own personal health away from them after they've already been able to determine. I know people who are on 5 or 6 different types of pain medication, and as soon as they started taking Delta 8, Delta 9, people have been able to sit there and really kind of fine tune how they need to operate. They're no longer drinking. They're no longer on 5 or 6 different pharmaceutical medications, with 10 or 12 different side effects and in certain cases, death. But no, we have to get rid of THC. Why? It has nothing to do with the kids. Has nothing to do with people going to the emergency room. That is all smoke and mirrors. And it has everything to do with revenue generation and the fact that the politicians down at the Virginia State Assembly, General Assembly, don't have a system in place for them to be able to money launder and get everything in terms of the tax revenue into their own damn pockets. A blunt a day keeps the doctor away. Casual toy collector. Listen, I need that on a bumper sticker. Anyway, so I've talked a little bit too much. I have. People might be upset, but I needed to educate everybody of what the heck is going on. I had so many people come after me a couple of weeks ago, and they said, well, Sam, what's going to happen? What's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? And I needed to be aware about what was going on. And I have been up. I've been up, going about everything. So, but the thing is that the thing that's going to hurt the most about this is people who have taken the keys back to their own health, and now, because the federal government can't get money from it, are going to have to be penalized and figure out another way to help themselves out, because the government is too damn greedy. At Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Facebook, at Sam Newsman on Twitter, Sam Newsman on TikTok, Sam Newsman on YouTube. We're here. The Sam Cam's live, up and running. Download the Live 365 app. Download the Live 365 app, and you can hear the cartoon songs and the sitcom themes that I'm about to play here in the next few moments. So, I tell you what, thanks everyone. I see the chat is blowing up both on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I see the chats all there going there. Thanks everyone for going in. Broadcasting live, yes, go figure, go. But want to thank all of you, because I got a little bit on a soapbox here, but I needed to sit there and talk about it. And how else would you be able to receive it other than a real media puppet talking about cannabis on a Saturday morning and giving you the truth, one fact at a time. Doing what I was born to do. I was born to host a radio show on Saturday morning. You were born to listen, learn a few things, and remember the good old times. Live 365 to hear the cartoon themes here on the only radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real puppet. I'm the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman. And this is Saturday morning.
And the masters of the